Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.0. Prepare for launch.
OTC is go.
Packetbus is go.
PTC is go.
LPS is go.
Houston flight is go.
Molotov.
STM is go.
Safety-com is go.
STU is go.
LRD is go.
SRO is go. CDI is go.
Launch director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
Consequences so severe, so pull your trigger quickly, dear. Our patriots are acting up, let's punish them with fear. Hey, hey!
Hey, it's Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. I am your host, the one, the only, Darryl W. Perry. And, you know, I'm beginning to think that I should stop trying to do Ask Me Anythings. This is, I believe, the third or fourth show on Wednesday, the third or fourth Wednesday show, rather, where I've been doing the Ask Me Anything every Wednesday, or attempting to, since, I believe, November of 2014. When I made the switch of the show, stopped going live, and started doing the thrice weekly. And, well, the last couple of Ask Me Anything shows, I've not had any questions. Which means, on the one hand, you know, I get to do more version 4.0 of the show, but at the same time, I really enjoy answering your questions. So, if you have any, send those over, ama@fppradio.com. Next Wednesday, I will be traveling on Wednesday, but I will get a show recorded on Tuesday of next week. Friday, I will be in, I believe, Atlanta when I record the show, and then at some point during the day on Friday, I'll be traveling to Birmingham, because my 20-year high school reunion is next weekend. I know, 20 years. It, you know, on the one hand, it seems like it's been, you know, just yesterday almost, but at the same time, it's been lifetimes ago. And I was talking to a couple of friends last night where they were talking about, actually was a friend talking about her sister having lived, you know, several lifetimes, and she's only like 32 years old. And I said, yeah, I've lived, you know, several lifetimes as well. And she said, well, you two could probably share some interesting stories. And one thing that's interesting is my friend's sister now lives somewhere near where I used to live a few years ago. Actually, probably, let's see, let me do the math here, about almost 6 years ago. So, yeah, you know, like I would definitely say that I have lived several lifetimes in my 38 years. And, yes, it's been several lifetimes ago that I was in high school. So, on the one hand, it'll be neat to, you know, go back, see people that I've not seen in 20 years or so. And at the same time, you know, there's some people that I really don't care to see. But nonetheless, it will, I think, be very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some of the people. But let's see, in addition to the 20-year reunion next weekend, on Wednesday, 1 week from today, I will, as I said, be in Atlanta, Georgia. And Jeffrey Tucker has a weekly event called Anarchy in Atlanta. They meet every Wednesday. I will be there next week, and I'll be speaking to that group of cool anarchists in Atlanta. I'll post the link to the publicly available event on Facebook in the show notes. I will post that in the show notes. If you happen to be anywhere in the Atlanta area and wish to come out, meet me, say hi, you can do so. So now let's jump into version 4.0. The show on Monday went through some things that you can do to wind up being happier. And one of the things was to wind up, you know, paying it forward or donating to charity. And I saw a headline last night when I was compiling the news for FPP Radio News, which is the daily newscast that I do. Headline, Americans' donations to charity $373 billion last year. Now, why they didn't just say Americans donated $373 billion to charity last year is beyond me, but they had to, word the headline all kind of weird and add in that weird-looking apostrophe at the end of Americans to pluralize it, which is why I think it should have just said Americans donated $373 billion to charity last year. But let's actually jump into the numbers, because the numbers are really interesting. And you might say, well, you just gave the number $373 billion. But in that $373 billion, there's a lot of numbers to digest. Let me begin by reading the story from UPI, and then I'll actually get into the report from the organization Giving USA. So the report from UPI says charitable donations in the United States set a record in 2015, an estimated $373 billion, the majority coming from individuals. And this is what I meant when I said there's a lot to delve into with the numbers. So this is not just individuals. There's also charitable organizations that donate money. There are bequest to where someone passes away and they leave it in their will. That's different than if I walk down to the food shelter and give them $10. So if I die and leave them $10, that's a bequest, which is calculated differently than if I'm alive and give $10. But again, I'll jump into that. The annual report of the Chicago-based organization Giving USA, which provides data on philanthropy, said donations from estates, foundations, individuals, and corporations all increased and collectively exceeded the record 2014 figures. Total giving increased 4% when adjusted for inflation. It was a total of 4.1%, but then, adjust for inflation. Over 2014 figures, a 6.1 increase over the previous year. So 2014, there was a 6.1 increase from 2013. 2015 had a 4.1% increase over 2014. While the pace of growth has slowed, largely because of a weaker stock market, individuals accounted for $264.6 billion, more than two-thirds of all charitable contributions. There's more on this. Stay tuned.
When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com. That's getcell411.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Now, before I jump back into the numbers here from Giving USA on charitable contributions, I want to make sure that I tell you about a wonderful organization that sometimes they do some charitable contributions, but what they specialize in is helping you buy gold and silver, and they've been doing that for nearly 40 years, and that would be Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. Since 1977, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760. Or you can visit them online at rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co. Now, let me, instead of continuing with the news report from UPI, jump over to the actual report, or the summary of the report, because the actual report from Giving USA cost about $120 to get in paperback, cost $90 to get the full PDF. And I'm not joking. They actually have on their site, you can go and you can download a 3-page graphical summary for free, but if you want the full report in PDF form, it is $89.95. And I'm not that interested in the thing, so I will just read their summary of the thing. And let me jump here with a quote from Giving USA Foundation Chairman W. Keith Curtis, who is the president of nonprofit consulting, or the nonprofit consulting firm, the Curtis Group, says, if you look at total giving by 2-year time spans, the combined growth for 2014 and 2015 hit double digits, reaching 10.1% when calculated using inflation-adjusted dollars. But these findings embody more than numbers. They are also a symbol of the American spirit. It's heartening that people really do want to make a difference, and they're supporting the causes that matter to them. Americans are embracing philanthropy at a higher level than ever before. And this is something, when I was seeking the Libertarian Party's presidential nomination, I was repeatedly asked the question of, Darryl, how would fill-in-the-blank social service exist without government? And I would always say, well, do you like the thing? And people would either say, yes, I like the thing, or no, I don't like the thing. Okay, if you like the thing, then donate to the thing. Do you like art museums? Do you like education? Because I like both of those things. And I would donate more money to those things if I had more money. A lot of people don't donate to those things because they think, well, the government takes care of that. Well, see, that's the problem, is you have people thinking, well, I don't need to donate to that because the government is donating to that, so why do I need to donate to that? That's why we have government. Well, no, see, the problem is government has basically wanted people to think government will solve everything when it should be private individuals or private foundations or organizations that rely on donations, or organizations that find a way to actually profit from things solving the things. Well, whatever the thing is. And there was a question during the debate on C-SPAN the night before the Libertarian Party presidential nomination, and the question was asked, how would you replace Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? And my response was, who here, and I actually do want a show of hands, who here likes grandmas? And almost everybody raised their hand. And I said, who here would donate money to help grandmas? And again, almost everybody raised their hand. And I said, that's how you replace Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And as we're seeing, Americans are donating more money this year than they did last year. We hear these stories all the time about how there's government cuts. Okay, good. Keep cutting what the government provides to Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid, because people are stepping forward to help, because people, by and large, are good. People, by and large, want to help each other. Let me get back to the report here from Giving USA. They say charitable contributions from all 4 sources went up in 2015. And again, those 4 sources were estates, individuals, foundations, and something. Estates, foundations, individuals, and corporations. So donations from each of those went up in 2015. with donations from individuals once again leading the way in terms of total dollars, $264.58 billion. Now imagine if people were not having nearly $1 trillion per year stolen from them by taxation. How much more could be donated to charity? Giving USA, the longest-running and most comprehensive report of its kind in America, is published by Giving USA Foundation, a public service initiative of the Giving Institute. It is researched and written by the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. Digging even deeper into charitable gifts, both large and small, the Eugene R. Temple, Dean of the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, Amir Basic, Ph.D., says the last 2 years represent the highest and second highest totals for giving and the third and fourth largest percentage increases in giving in the past 10 years, even when adjusted for inflation. Pasek added that the share of total giving going to each type of recipient was virtually the same in 2015 as it was in 2014. During and after the recession, some donors redirected donations to assist with pressing needs. The fact that the portions of giving, or rather the portions of the giving pie destined for various subsectors has been largely consistent over the past 2 years suggests that giving among the broad destination categories may be stabilizing. Now, what are those different sectors of the pie? Well, as I said, I downloaded that free graphical analysis, and I've got that metaphorical pie sitting right in front of my face. And no, unfortunately, I can't eat any of it because I'm being a good boy. Stay tuned. I'll tell you where the pie is going. You're on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davi Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, "We aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience." Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and now available as an audiobook. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Before I tell you where this metaphorical pie, not one that you can actually take a bite out of in a actual tasty, delicious pie sense, because it's not a pie, it's a pie chart. But before I tell you where the different sections of that pie chart are going, I want to make sure I tell you about the Lava Flow podcast. What's that? I know you're fed up with the government because you're listening to this show, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet? What is wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. Pause this podcast to do it. Pause. Go to thelavaflow.com/listen, or actually pause after I say lavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen. Or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. All right, so you're subscribed to the Lava Flow podcast? Good. You can unpause this podcast. And if you didn't actually pause or unpause, then, well, congratulations, because you do what you want. But still, seriously, you should go subscribe to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. So where are the contributions going? Well, there's actually two pie charts in front of me. The one is contributions by source, We already said that over $264 billion came from individuals. That accounts for 71% of all donations made in 2015. The next largest chunk at 16% came from foundations, 9% from bequest, and 5% from corporations. The single largest contributor to the increase in total charitable giving in 2015 was an increase of $9.77 billion in giving by individuals, 67% of the total change between 2014 and 2015. And where do the donations go? 32% of all donations go to religious organizations, 15% to educational, 12% to home services, 11% are gifts to foundations. We don't know how much of the gifts to foundations are later made as donations from foundations, which again makes up 16% of all charitable donations. 8% of donations go to health. I'm guessing that would be things like Red Cross, free aid, which if you do not donate to free aid, I highly recommend you do so if you have some extra dollars to throw around. Or actually, they prefer Bitcoin. Public society benefit, and I'm not sure exactly what that would be in their definition here. Arts, culture, and humanities gets 5% of charitable contributions. International affairs, 4%. Environment and animals at 3%. 2% of all charitable contributions go to individuals, and 1% of all charitable contributions are otherwise either unaccounted for in this calculation or some other, sort of filled there winds up getting that other 1%. Now, let's again jump back to the summary of the report from Giving USA. They say very large charitable donations, categorized here as gifts of $100 million or more, have garnered an increasing amount of attention over the past 10 to 15 years. In 2015, the very large contributions that were publicly announced totaled at least $3.3 billion. That's billion with a B. Patrick Rooney, Ph.D., Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Research at the school, says each year gifts of $100 million or more play a significant role for some individual donors and many different types of charities, and they do affect the numbers. However, Americans' collective generosity would still be enormous even without those jaw-dropping gifts. Philanthropy is quite democratic and always has been. More people giving than vote, or rather more people give than vote in the United States, and $20, $10, and $1 gifts do make a cumulative difference. Now, there's one thing here that I want to take issue with, where he says that philanthropy is quite democratic. No, it's not. Philanthropy is about a bazillion times better than democracy. Yes, in philanthropy, you do get to choose where your money goes, but the difference between philanthropy and democracy is that with democracy, whatever the plurality chooses, everyone must go with. In charity, it doesn't matter what the plurality goes with. You can still donate to the causes you like. You like antiwar.com? Good. Send them $5, $10, $100. If you've got this $100 million or more that you can throw around, send it to antiwar.com. You don't like what they're doing, but you like what free aid does? Okay, send them $5, $10, or $100 million. That's $5, $10, or if you're one of these, really rich people with $100 million to throw around, send it to free aid. You like Liberty Lobby LLC? You want your own personal lobbyist for freedom? Send $5, $10, $20, or, again, I'll take $100 million and be a lobbyist for liberty, and I would never have to ask for another donation again if somebody sent me $100 million. I would probably never have to ask for another contribution again if somebody sent me $1 million. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that super large donation. There's a little bit more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Hey, this is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've been working with computer programmer Derek Slopey to create Fiend Phone. I'm using Fiend Phone right now to talk with and record one of my co-hosts in real time. Take it, Davi.
Hey, this is Davi Barker, and I'm 1,000 miles away from Michael, but we sound like we're in the same room.
We sure do, Davi. So, Davi, please tell the nice people more about Fiend Phone.
Fiend Phone is free, open-source software that opens up a global world of possibilities for collaborative, high-quality remote voice media production, and I'm digging it.
People can try the Windows beta version of Fiend Phone right now at fiendphone.com. But we're also raising money to vastly improve Fiend Phone and vastly improve independent talk media worldwide.
So go to fiendphone.com to help out. Who will build the audio roads? We will, with your help.
That's fiendphone.com. FEENPHONE.com. Foxtrot, Echo, November, phone.com.
Fiend Phone. I never knew remote audio could be this good.
This is Paige Peterson from MaidSafe, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, we're in the closing moments of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, talking about charitable donations. Why? Well, 1, it fascinates me. 2, this is the Ask Me Anything episode. Nobody asked me a question. And 3, giving to charity will make you happier. It's scientifically proven. We've discussed it numerous times here on this show. It was on the list of things that you can do to wind up being happier that we discussed on Monday. There's a little bit more here, and I want to just jump through some of these numbers. Here, number for 2015, charitable giving by source. I already told you the percentages, but let me give you the actual numbers because these, again, are staggering and mind-blowing. Individual giving accounted for $264.58 billion in 2015. Donations by foundations, $58.46 billion. That was an increase of 6.5% over 2014. Charitable bequest, $31.76 billion, an increase of 2% over the previous year. And corporate giving, $18.45 billion, an increase of just under 4%. Sustained growth in total giving for 2014 and 2015 could be due in part to at least 2 factors: the country's overall economic environment continuing its path to recovery after recessionary times, and household finances seeming to stabilize. Now, I could respectfully disagree with the whole, we're out of the recession thing, but I do think that people have adjusted to the wages that they're making, and that means that they're generally overall going to realize that they have a little bit more expendable income, and because people by and large are good, they want to help their fellow man, and so they find things to donate to. One gauge of philanthropy's impact on American society is the fact that charitable giving is at a level high enough for it to be part and parcel of GDP. In fact, charitable donations have hovered around 2% of GDP for many years. In 2015, the relevant figure was 2.1%, the same as in 2014, and slightly above the 40-year average of 1.9%. But again, charitable donations do not affect GDP. GDP does not affect charitable donations, but people like tying things to GDP. You could also tie things to the average height of supermodels, and it would be equally as meaningless, but that means something to somebody. Hey, don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those over, AMA@FPPRadio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copyright. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas, which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.